Thank you so much.
That's really good.
Thank you so much. Time for the inspirational reading. And joy. Joy. I looked for joy, and it's good to have definitions of things. Joy, taken from the Revealing Word, a dictionary of metaphysical terms, from the Charles Fillmore Reference Library. And this is a book one can order through the teaching of the inner Christ. Joy, the happiness of God expressed through his perfect idea, man. Joy and gladness are strength-giving, especially if the mind is fixed on the things of spirit. Affirm, the joy of the Lord is my strength. The joy of the Lord is my strength. And October, Joyous Living by Reverend Elizabeth Brabrant. I'll read a little of this. Joy is our true nature. Great joy arises out of our contact with our Christ selves. Joyous living is a natural state. We are expressing our divine reality. This morning's speaker is a joyful person. She has a joyful face with joyful eyes. And she's been a minister for a while, and she's been a business person, and she leads and teaches and speaks here, and she is outreach, the head of outreach, TSC Outreach, and she does all sorts of things for TSC on the computer. So we can take classes online thanks to this person who is speaking on creating a joy-filled life. So let's welcome Reverend Marianne Kelley.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How is everyone this morning?
Good.
Are you filled with joy?
Yes.
Good. Well, I have a couple of quotes for you. This one comes from A Course in Miracles. Have you all heard of A Course in Miracles?
Yes.
Today, begin to look on all things with love, appreciation, and open-mindedness. Wow. Beautiful. The second one comes from Marcus Aurelius. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. So, who in this audience feels joy every day?
Pretty much.
Yay! At some point every day. And ask yourself, what brings me joy? What brings me joy? Take a minute. From where does it come? From whence does joy come in my life? When do I feel the most joyful? And why don't I feel joyful all the time? How can I bring more joy into my life? How can I have more moments when I say to myself, it just doesn't get any better than this? Have any of you felt that? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, joy comes from deep within. It comes from deep within. It is when we live in the moment that we can experience joy. We can experience anticipation of something coming, but we can't express that joy until the moment comes and it happens. And it just wells up within and it just bursts out. Joy comes from the very depths of our being. So, What do we need to feel this joy? What elements are necessary? Or how can we feel it? Well, I think the first thing for me is to practice forgiveness. At first myself, and then perhaps others. To forgive any perceived injustice and move beyond it. And then the second thing is to be grateful for the small things in life. It's easy to be grateful when a great thing happens, but what about the small things in life? What about the playful cats that you share your home with? They're always doing something. They always have something that just tickles you, just tickles your fancy. About the ability, in my instance, to live in a home that's filled with music. Just feel that music all the night. And laughter. We laugh a lot.
Yeah.
We laugh a lot. And what about the wonderful food that we eat? Some of it's kind of, we don't know what it is for sure, but we eat it, and it's wonderful. We experiment a lot with whatever. We go down to the Sprouts, and they've got seasonal stuff, and some of the things I'm not sure what it is. Coming from Nebraska, we don't have the variety that we have here, but we always find something to do with it. It's just wonderful. How about getting up in the morning and seeing the sunrise? Or getting up in the morning because the cat's going like this on your face. It's just a joy. Just a joy. How about the washing machine that keeps your clothes clean? And the clothes that you have to put in the washing machine to be clean. I'm not going to talk about ironing. I don't do that very often. What about, we have in our neighborhood a myriad of places to go walking. And each time you walk, there's something different. You go down this street, you see all the beautiful restaurants, and you smell the wonderful smells of it. There must be 50 different kinds of restaurants, so you'll get the different kinds of smells. And then you'll greet people, and people smile. When you smile at people, they smile back. Isn't that wonderful? Doesn't that give you a feeling of joy? Yeah. Go another way, and you're getting the Sprouts. And that's fun, too, because there are all these beautiful yards. And it's interesting to see how they've changed since we had the so-called drought. And people are putting in wonderful succulents and cactus and so on. And it's just really exciting to see something different. I walk in the other direction, I can walk over to Balboa Park. And what a joy that is. Just to walk around the park and just to see the people and look at the beautiful flowers, look at the beautiful buildings. Isn't that a joyous thing? Yeah. And I just, you can just do, and then if I go down the hill, then I get that exercise. It's not so bad going down the hill, but coming back up is another story. But it's still a joy when you get to the top. So, another thing, the third thing I think is to pay attention to my attitude and my feelings about events in everyday life. And occasionally I catch myself jumping to conclusions and playing a story in my mind that may or may not be right. But when I stop and say, do I need to be right in this situation? Do I feel the need to set somebody straight? Yes. This is am I feeling these things? By George, you just need to understand. Well, guess what? If I'm feeling any of these things, I go back to step number 1, forgive quickly, and 2, to be grateful that what's going on is going on because I know there's a lesson in it for me. I'm going to learn something, and that's exciting. And once I get excited, then I can open myself up to the joy when it comes about. So, and I know, that this is number 4, I know that I feel most joyous when I connect with my own inner Christ. When I connect in meditation, or when it just connects when I'm going about my daily thing and I get my signal and joy, joy. I connect with that divine guidance. Occasionally you're in a situation and all of a sudden you realize it is totally divine guidance that you're here in divine providence. And it's that I'm never alone. that I always have this, that this is actually who I am. And there's that joy of knowing and feeling the Father, Mother, God within, and feeling that is what sustains me and who I am in fact. And if I just pay attention to it, just pay attention. And if I act out of gratitude, that attitude of gratitude brings a big joy too. Okay, remembering, if you're having problems with the joy concept, or if you're getting into a space where you're maybe having to set someone straight, take a moment and remember the joys that you felt as a child. Be as a child, Jesus tells us. Remember playing all day long? Remember going outside? You remember climbing that tree? You remember climbing it higher than the boys could? Well, I do. And it was so much fun. Hanging by your knees up there, and your mom come out screaming, "Come down, come down." Do you remember the time that you won the swimming race at the meet? You won it. What joy, what joy. Do you remember one day that a puppy followed you home from school? And your mother made you take it back to where you found it? And so you took it back, and the lady there said, "We have 5 more puppies. If your mother says you can have it, you can have it." So you took it back home, just excited as you could be. And said, Mom, the lady said I could have it because they have 5 more. And your mother says, "Oh dear." You said, "Hold it, Mama, hold it." Because you knew if you got your mother to hold it, it was yours. Because your mother had such a soft spot for anything she could hold in her arms. Do you remember that? Did you experience something like that? But the joy, the excitement, just, oh, it's so exciting. And then you got to play with that puppy. You had to train it to go potty outside. And that took a little doing, but it was so exciting when the puppy started asking to go out. It was so exciting. Oh. What about when you went trick-or-treating? You got to dress up. You got to pick something. You dress up as I always wanted to be Dale Evans. It was so much fun. Yeah, it was a cowgirl. Yeah. You remember when you got the candy home and you went through it and you picked out all the good stuff? Leave the other stuff for later. You ate up all the good stuff.
Chocolate first.
I remember caramel apples. I remember people used to give us caramel apples and popcorn balls and cupcakes. I didn't like the cupcakes because they always got kind of mushy in the bottom of the bag. And they weren't very good, and it made the bag sticky. But it was fun. It was exciting. And people had a lot of fun. And how about that bicycle that you got? You remember, I don't know, any of you lived by a hill where you went coasting down the hill on that bicycle? You remember that? Oh, Joyce, you're down, you're going, whee! And then the fly went in your mouth. Then you tried to whip, and it just wouldn't come back out. Yes, and I remember crashing in, but it was so much fun, the skin knees and all of that. What about the sled that you got for Christmas? Took it to the same hill, but there was snow. If you lived anywhere but California, of course. I have to remember my audience. Well, I came from the Midwest, or from the Plain States, and we had a hill, and we'd take that sled up there. All day long, we would play with that sled. Remember those? Remember, find a time in your life when you were just so filled with joy. Bring it to mind if you're feeling down, and let that take you back to that same hill, or that puppy, or that trick-or-treat, or that caramel apple. How about when you do something for someone else? How many have ever done some charity work? Yeah. How does that feel when you help someone else? How does that feel? I remember working at the food bank for a few years, and that was just so much filled with so much joy. People would come in; they were so excited to get some food, and it made me feel so good that I could help them out like that. And how about when we share our abundance with the teaching of the inner Christ? Doesn't that feel good to help keep it growing? Well, how about doing some random acts of kindness? I remember one day I was going over to the Subway by our house, and it's on this particular shopping little strip mall is built on steps. It's on a hill, so there's steps down, and there was a man sitting outside of the Subway sandwich shop, just sitting there, and he looked kind of forlorn. And I was in buying a sandwich for myself and for Ann. I was going to take it home. And I thought, you know what? It doesn't take anything for me to have him make another one and get a soda also. So I took those out and I gave them to him. I didn't give it to him so much for him, but for me, it was something I needed to do or felt I wanted to do. And he was so excited to get that food. And I thought, wow, just a small thing like that I can do. Those kinds of things. Or how about helping that lady who's got 2 bags of groceries trying to get out the door, or trying to push a cart out the door, and the door, the door is not opening, so you open it for them. Little things like that. It doesn't take anything, but it makes us feel so good when we can help people out, when we can do something for others. It's important. It's important to find an act of kindness that you can do. And they're all around us. We just have to be aware. Again, it comes back to this being aware of what's going on around us, blessing everything that we see, all of those things. Okay, so how many of you have ever set a goal? How many of you ever said? And then what do? When you set a goal? You make a list of all the things that need to happen in order to accomplish that goal, right? Yeah. You pray, you meditate, you channel, and you set those goals. And then you move on. You tick them off one at a time as you get them done, and as you're doing them, you see another thing that might need to be done, so you tweak it a little bit, and it's exciting working on that goal, right? And then when you accomplish it, wow, the joy of accomplishment, wow. How about another thing? How about exercise? Going to the gym, to the pool, for a walk. Anything that moves us, gets us moving, physically moving. It always makes me feel good to do something that's helping my physical body. And remembering that joy is always about the now moment. It's not about the past. It's not about the future. Although we can draw from the past, like when we go revisit our childhood and some of the joys we had there. But the main thing is to remember that it is when we are in the now moment that we can experience the joy of being, the joy of living, the excitement of who and what we truly are. So stay in the now moment. Go out and do something. Or pray, meditate, and allow that inner joy to come up, to well up from within, and to express itself in our life. So, remember that it takes awareness, it takes an attitude of gratitude, it takes a sharing, a playing, accomplishing our daily goals. It takes loving ourselves and each other and just enjoying life, just doing life. And these things will bring us this joy-filled life. It's always right where we are. So I'm saying to you, just go for it. Just be that joy-filled life. Just be the joy that you want to express. It all starts with me. And it all starts with you. Thank you, wonderful God. And so it is. So we let it be.
All right. That was a fun talk. Thank you.
That was great.
I never ate a bug.